Port Angeles on a spectacular summer Thursday evening. I just had to laugh because up here in the Northwest, it's been very gray for all of June. And then yesterday, summer solstice, bam, sunshine. As of yesterday, the sun came out and it was beautiful. Yesterday and last night, we had a beautiful crystal bowl bath here in this beautiful space. And so we're going to actually do that again. We're looking at dates in July, August, and September. So we'll just keep you posted on that. We're going to start with our song, I Send My Love Over the Mountain. It's in our program. I invite you to use this time, as always, to get present right here, right now. And imagine someone who could really use some extra love and peace and joy today, because we're going to send it over the mountain and have it come right back to us. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me joy. I send my joy over the mountain. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. Peace. I send my peace over the mountains. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. Power. I send my power over the mountain. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heavens, and it returns to me. Back to God. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me. And it returns to me. Beautiful. You sound so good. Welcome. I like your haircut. So we've got our reading of our vision and mission, as always. It's in our program. I invite you to say this with me, if you choose. Vision. We are an open, safe, creative, and spiritual community where we experience divine love and connection every day. Our mission. Through spiritual, artistic, and social gatherings, we experience and express divine love. Our intentions create ripples of compassion into the world. Great. Just a few announcements. We've got lots of activities happening this summer. One of them is our Open Men's Circle, which is the first and the third Saturday of each month, and that is facilitated by Uric. The next one is on July 1st. We invite all men to come and really discover the power of sitting together in your authentic nature in a different way than maybe we often do in this society. So I really invite the men out there in the world watching this and in our community to join Uric in this experience. And then we've got drumming the first Friday of the month. That's on July 7th from 7 to 8:30. And then our next set of workshops, our next one is on July 12th, 7 to 9 p.m., and our focus will be on health. Everybody would like a little bit more of that. Second Friday. Oh, you're right. Drumming is the second Friday. Never mind, that's the 14th. Ignore that line. That's what happens when I don't have my proofreader. So after July 12th workshop, come to the drumming on the 14th of July. And we've got a lot of other things going on this summer, and the other thing that we'll have flyers for next week is a huge anniversary party celebrating our 1-year anniversary and also the anniversary of the Interfaith Community of Clallam County. We are a part of that group, and they also having a 1-year anniversary, and we're having a big party right here on the 29th of July. The other small, well, not so small announcement that I found out today is I've been approved for my ordination panels, and that's happening on July 25th down in San Diego. So that just means I become an official minister. I'm official, but now I'll be official. And we will have another party for my ordination here. When I go to San Diego, I sit before a panel of 3 ministers, and they ask me, are you really sure this is what you want to do for the rest of your life? And a bunch of other stuff. But then we'll come back here, and we'll have a lovely party. But that'll be later on in the year. So, I'm going to invite up Shirley Grace for our opening reading, our brief time of silence, and our opening prayer. Come on up.
Our reading today is from our founder, Ernest Holmes. The way to work is to begin right where we are, and through constantly applying ourselves to the truth, we gradually increase in wisdom and understanding, for in this way alone will good results be obtained. Join me in taking that into your heart. As I am surrounded by the beauty, the absolute amazing beauty of nature, the flowers, the sun, the water, the bird calls, I am invited to remember that there is one creative energy, and that all of nature, all that is that creative energy celebrating itself in multiple forms. Since I am part of that one, we are each part of that one, I rejoice in the ability to go within to those cool, calm springs that are at the center of my being. That place where I am renewed, where my oneness with spirit is refreshed. That place where wisdom resides, and I claim for each of us that that place of wisdom, that place of truth residing within, is that place we can visit so that we can remain in integrity with who we are. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. I am so grateful, so very grateful for this place to come together, this community. I am grateful for Reverend Tricia as she brings a powerful message to our hearts from hers. I am grateful for Joel's music. I am grateful for knowing the truth of spirit, and I release my word into the law, knowing it is always returned to me, complete and manifest. And so it is.
And so it is. Monsieur. I love having talented, gifted musicians to play with. Not being a person who plays an instrument other than noodling on the piano or playing the spoons. having someone that I can say, here's a song I've always wanted to sing, and we work out the chords in a brief period of time, and then suddenly this song that's been on my heart gets to come out into the world, and that is such a blessing. So this song is by Mavis Staples, called God Is Not Sleeping. God is not sleeping, no. You got to believe it. It's the only one I know who never refused me, never deceived me in the struggles of my life. It's right there inside me, protect me and guide me. From within come thine words, and those words live in my soul. That's why I know God is not sleeping. Oh no, you got to believe it. Hang on, whatever your need is, hold on. God is not sleeping. Oh no, in the stillness of the night, in every corner of the world, while we are sleeping, Spirit is working. When the prayers go out, the blessings rain down. Yes, it is working. It never stops working. God is not sleeping. Oh no, you got to believe it. Hang on, whatever your dream is, hold on. God is not sleeping. No, everything I have is temporary. Only love is necessary. Everything I own is temporary. Only love is necessary. Everything I have is temporary. Only love is necessary. Everything I own is temporary. Only love is necessary. 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 God is not sleeping. Oh no, you got to believe it. Hang on, whatever your dream is, hold on. God is not sleeping. Oh no, whatever your dream is, hold on. God is not sleeping. Oh no, whatever your dream is, hold on. God is not sleeping. No. Everything I have is temporary. Only love is necessary. Everything I own is temporary. Only love is necessary. Everything I have is temporary. Only love is necessary. Everything I own is temporary. Only love is necessary. 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 So our talk title tonight is kind of a wordy talk title, aligning our values with our actions. We're still in the month of accountability, and that is a powerful practice to step into, being accountable, able to account for the choices, the decisions, the thoughts, the beliefs, the feelings that move through us. Because those things, our thoughts, our choices, our feelings, our beliefs, those are not who we are. That is the temporary part of who we are. That is not the wholeness of who we are. That is not the fullness of who we are. It is part of that humanity that Shirley so beautifully spoke about, that physicality of us in the world. And so because we live in a world with other people and things, we get to be accountable in the world, to ourselves and to each other. And I feel that life moves more smoothly and filled with grace. We tend to float downstream on the river instead of fighting it when we become accountable. When we're willing to step into ownership of our thoughts, our beliefs, our choices, even those that maybe up until now are not preferred. To just say, this is what I've been thinking in the past, up until this very moment. This is how I've believed up until now. So when we talk about aligning our values with our actions, somebody might say, well, isn't that backward? Shouldn't we align our actions with our values? So we get to have a self-inquiry about that, to say, well, what values do my actions embody? If I'm moving about in the world, you can tell a lot about me by my actions. I might talk a good story. I might tell you how awesome I am, or I might tell you how kind and gentle I am, but if my actions in the world don't reflect that, if you see me cutting people off on the freeway and yelling at the person in line at the grocery store, that action is not in line with what my stated value might be. And of course, we all have those moments. We all have those times where we are less than graceful, less than kind, less than our highest and best self. But what's our tendency? When I first started dating my beloved husband, I paid attention to how he treated me, of course, but I paid a lot more attention to how he treated other people in the world. Strangers, how did he drive on the highway? And what I found was a deep well of kindness in this person, not something else. A deep well of kindness towards others, towards strangers, towards the elderly, towards the people that maybe someone else didn't notice. There was an alignment with his stated beingness and his actions. And I've known other people where that was not the case. And there have been times for me where that was not always the case. Emerson says, "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say." And politicians are a lot like that, aren't they? They say one thing and then they do something else. And so we have a hard time with trust. It's hard, I don't know about you, but it's challenging for me to trust somebody when their actions are not in alignment with their stated values or who they are. And I have a hard time trusting myself when my alignment isn't happening. And you see me doing this a lot when I talk about alignment. There's this inner click, this inner sense of rightness that occurs in my body, and I'm guessing in yours, when we are aligned. When we are aligned with that one truth of who we really are, when we are aligned with our truest, highest, capital T self, there's a click that happens, or a sense of rightness. And when we're out of alignment, things start to feel discordant or out of harmony. Atonal in music, that weird, they feel dissonant, which in music is, dissonance is awesome if it gets resolved. If it's just left there, often it can have people feeling edgy and uncomfortable. Have you had the experience of being around someone where you just felt uncomfortable and you couldn't figure out why? There was just something about that person's energy that felt discordant. Mine has been that. And I used to think I could hide it really well when I was feeling out of alignment, and yet I looked like Pigpen walking around with this black cloud over my head, and I'm like, I'm fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. It was very tight. Everything's fine. Well, it wasn't fine. And everybody else could tell, but I think I'm carrying it off somehow, like everything's okay. No. There was a prickly, discordant energy radiating from me in those times. Even as much as I tried to pretend otherwise, put on a good face. Oh, I've got to go out in the public now. I've got to put on my good face. But we know, little kids know, when they meet someone who doesn't feel right, and they can't always articulate it, we know when we tap into that deepest core of who we really are. So I want to really look at the interplay of values and actions, because we begin to say, well, what comes first? Do our values come first? Do our actions? It's the chicken and egg a little bit, because they intertwine. Our actions inform our values inform our actions, and it is a little dance that happens. So when we ask which comes first, both. It's a yes and. For ourselves to discover, am I in alignment? Are my values, the things that I say that I believe in, the things that I say that I want to be and express in the world, are they lining up with the activities that I'm doing? I say I want to be more physically fit. Am I actually doing my exercises the way that I know works best to do that? Sometimes. Sometimes not. And I get to see the result of the choice that I make, and I feel out of alignment because, oh, I made an agreement with myself. Not for somebody else, but I made an agreement with myself that I would do this particular thing. That I'll meditate every day, or that I'll make sure I exercise a minimum of 4 times a week, or whatever that is. When we break agreements to ourselves, there's a big sense of betrayal that can happen. We are betraying our deepest truths, our deepest longings, our deepest value. And that feels uncomfortable. So we can experiment to help us discover, well, what's going on with me? Where is it that I'm out of alignment? We can become open to feedback from people who love us and know us well. Not in a judgmental feedback way, but in an open and spacious way. We can ask, how am I doing? How do I appear to you? To just be open. It doesn't mean we are necessarily going to shift everything about our life, but to maybe be open to some ideas and suggestions or thoughts from someone who cares about us, loves us, and knows our shtick, knows our routine. Can we be open to making some adjustments? Well, okay, so if I get up an hour earlier, which means I need to go to bed an hour earlier, well, then maybe I'll have time to do the thing that I say that I want to do in the day. If I decide to stay up late and sleep in later, well, now I've lost some time, so then I'm going to make excuses, and I'm going to let myself down. I'm going to not keep my agreement with myself. And to be open to some external opinions. Just be aware of what those external opinions are. It doesn't necessarily, again, mean that they're going to affect us, but how do they? If I've got a stated goal and someone I care about says, oh, well, that's crazy, that's never going to work, oh, you shouldn't even bother, why would you even do that? Am I affected by that? Do I let that knock me off my deep intention, my deep value, my deep stated desire, the actions that I want to take? Or does it make me step further into it? I have a good friend, a couple of people in my life, that definitely have said, anytime you tell me no, then I'm definitely going to do it. And that has been a through line for my one friend's life for the entire 35, 40 years I've known this person. If you say, oh, I don't know how you're going to do that. I don't think you can do that. Oh, yeah, I will. Let me show you. So sometimes we might need someone outside to say, yeah, I do think you can do that. Go for it. And other people might want to poo-poo that idea And maybe they've got their own ideas or their own fears or their own story about why it can't work, or nothing's ever worked for them, so why should it work for you? We get to then become a little discerning about that. Is this information that I want to accept? Does it work within my value to hear that outside opinion? Or do I go back and listen to my inner wisdom? Some people outside of us have a lot of great wisdom for us. And so sometimes it's good to solicit other opinions. But ultimately, we have to come back inside and say, how does that feel for me? That might be a great idea for you, but how does that feel for me? How does that work for me? How does that line up with my values? Does this action work in that way? Our thoughts and our values and our beliefs are incredibly creative. Incredibly creative. That's what we create with. We create with these thoughts, values, and beliefs. Dennis Merritt Jones, who's written a number of very powerful self-help books and spiritual books, this is a long quote, but I really like it. It's juicy. The universe doesn't hear words. It senses our feelings and the intention behind the words. So, ... I'm going to digress. So the universe doesn't hear words, it hears the vibration that we're putting out. The feelings and the intentions are the vibration that we are resonating at. So I might say, I'm an abundant person, I'm an abundant person. But if I'm pinching every penny, if I'm terrified to go spend a nickel, then that vibration is not expressing abundance. That doesn't mean I go out and spend $1 million. If my vibration is one of abundance, I'm noticing abundance wherever I am. And I'm feeling abundant regardless of what's going on. That vibration then attracts something different. Does that make sense? So, we'll go on. So it senses our feelings and the intention behind the words. It says yes to our intentions. Therefore, if our intentions are dishonorable or simply cloudy and confused, it has to show up in the body of our relationships. To be impeccable in our word is to bring our spoken word and our unspoken intention into alignment, so that the inner thought and the outer action are the same. When this happens, we find ourselves living in true spiritual integrity, actually integrating the awareness of God's presence into not just our words, but our intentions and our actions as well. So that was not very meaty, very long. But basically, it's saying we must align with all of ourselves, our outer thoughts and our inner vibration. That's where the magic happens. That's where those things that could never possibly happen, but we deeply desire, show up in amazing ways that we could have never predicted and never planned for. So how do we align? There are some steps that we can do. Here are the steps. We can use tools to clarify our values and our intentions. In that quote, he talked about being simply cloudy and confused. If I'm being wishy-washy in my values and my actions, my intentions, then the universe is like, well, I don't know where to put your good. I want to give it to you, but where is it? Where are you? I can't figure out what you want. You say you want this, but you're acting like that. So we got to clean it up so it's not cloudy but clear. And we can use tools to do that. We can see a prayer practitioner. They're great at helping us to clarify what we really desire. We've got great, powerful practitioners here. We can meditate and listen for the inner wisdom to come to us. We can read powerful books. There are so many out there now that can help us clarify, what is it I really desire? What is my stated intention? What is my deepest value? There's several great books on how to just discover what our values actually are. There's powerful tools out there, so use them. We get to use them. As we begin to clear up the cloudiness and the confusion, then change starts to happen, and sometimes that can be challenging or uncomfortable. When we're stepping into something new, a lot of yeah buts seem to show up, and a lot of naysayers also will show up. And that isn't the universe saying you shouldn't do this. That's our beliefs that we're not worthy or that it's impossible showing up out here so we can see it. And then really choose, oh yes, this is really what I want. And in that process, we get to practice a lot of loving kindness for ourselves and for others. As we start to shift, often those people around us begin to get uncomfortable because we're not the same that we've always been. I vividly remember when my hair was really short, and then it was really long, and then it was really short. People who met me when I had really long hair liked me with long hair. People who met me when I had short hair liked me with short hair. And when it was in between, they didn't know what to do. It's like, who are you? It's a simple thing, but hair, you know? It's like suddenly well, that's how they always knew me. When I was younger, I moved halfway across the country to move away from not a life that I was unhappy in. I was very happy in my life. I had great friends, I had work I loved, and I wasn't growing. And my perception of myself was stuck, fixed. I needed to kick myself out of where I'd always been into a new place where nobody really knew me, so I could say, well, what are my values? Not the values of my friends, not the values of my family, not the values of the people that love me very much, but what are my values? Mine and mine alone. What are my intentions, my actions in the world? Who am I? So I got to discover that. And that took me on a whole new interesting path. So we can practice a lot of loving kindness for ourselves in the beginning because we're clumsy. We're going to be messy and clumsy as we continue to stumble over this direction that we want to go into. And along the way, we can begin to make little course corrections. We don't have to change everything, but we can make little course corrections. Pilots do this when they fly. The plane does not fly straight from here to there. It's constantly going off course, and they correct it. Going off course, and they correct it. The autopilot does it too. That's just what the plane does. They're constantly making small adjustments. And that's how we get there. People have said, well, my path, it should be like this. And our path often looks very windy, very up the hill, down the hill, into the valley, up over, oh, look, it's beautiful. Oh, it's dark down here. That's sometimes the way the path goes. And we continually make course corrections. We've got our compass. Here's my value. Here's my intention. I just keep aiming in that direction. And it's going to get me there. One step at a time. Then we get to recognize what is working. Instead of spending a lot of time beating ourselves up for all the stuff we're not doing right, let's focus on what we are doing that's in alignment, that feels good, that nurtures us, that is in the right direction for our own stated value and intention. What is working for us? What are we doing that's beneficial for our own life? Thomas Troward, who was an attorney in England, and Ernest Holmes, the founder of our philosophy, studied Troward. Troward is very wordy, but this particular quote is not. Normally his one sentence is like a page long, but this particular quote is not. So this is from Thomas Troward. Never fear to be yourself. If mental science, this thing that we practice, does not teach you to be yourself, it teaches you nothing. Yourself, more yourself, and yet more yourself is what you want. Only with the knowledge that the true self includes the inner and the higher self, which is always in immediate touch with the great divine mind. With the knowledge that our true self includes all of it. Our inner wisdom, that connection with the wholeness, everywhere. The quote that Shirley read earlier from Ernest Holmes, the way to work is to begin right where we are. We can't go back. There's a show that Corey and I have been watching on TV, and there was a scene in the car, and the wife was saying, well, why didn't we do this last week? And he was like, well, we didn't. and we both started laughing, because how often have we done that in our life? Well, we should have done that, or we should have done it earlier. Well, we didn't. We can't go back and do it then. We just don't have that technology yet. So we have to start right where we are. That's why we use this phrase, up until now. Up until now, this is what's been going on, but from right now, from right where I am, right here, maybe in a hole, maybe in a mess, okay, what can I start doing now? If we're in a hole, we don't keep digging. We maybe dig the sides down to pile dirt up so we can eventually climb out of the hole. Through constantly applying ourselves to the truth, we gradually increase in wisdom and understanding, for in this way alone will good results be obtained. We start where we are, right where we are, with kindness towards ourselves, kindness and patience for those around us as we make our way, or they're making their way, or we're doing it all at the same time. So, the final quote I want to leave you with is Dr. Michael Beckwith in a book called 40-Day Mind Fast Soul Feast. And this is the last day of the book. There is only one power and one presence everywhere present. When you consciously align yourself with the one life that is humbly and joyously running the universe, you then realize that you are never walking alone, that you are never serving alone. You are moving through your life in league with the infinite. Oh, I like that phrase. I am in league with the infinite. It makes me feel powerful, like Wonder Woman. It's the infinite league. We are part of the infinite league. Cosmic awareness kicks in, and you move through society as an agent of transformation in the revolution of values. So we are part of the revolution of values. We are part of the infinite league. Only when we're doing this, we're sending love back out. Somebody throws something at us, pa-choo, send back some love. Send back some peace. Send back some joy. That is in alignment with the deepest truth of who we are. Thank you. Grazie. So we have an affirmation in our program. It's in the insert. It's right after the talk title. I invite you to say that with me. I choose to examine my soul values and consciously align my actions with that truth. Good. This is our time for conscious giving. So, you just take a breath. If you're giving something tangible, I invite you to place it on your heart. Send a little extra love, a little extra abundance, a little extra power and passion right there. As we pass the basket, I'm going to invite Joel back up, play us a little bit. I send my love, or God is not sleeping, whichever feels good. And we'll come back up to the front, and we'll do our conscious giving affirmation. God is not sleeping. Oh no. You got to believe it. Oh no. Whatever you're dreaming, God is not sleeping. Oh no. Good. So I know that this consciously gifted abundance comes into the center and goes forth from the center, doing good work out in the world through many, many avenues, many hands, many hearts, many feet, many parties. I am so grateful for all the goodness that is here right now as we say our conscious affirmation together. I am open to give. I am open to receive. I am grateful to be in the flow of life through and as me. And our group song is You and Me. I invite you to stand up. Move your body a little bit.
I got extra samples.
Ooh, if anybody wants to play a tambourine. Anybody want to take a tambourine? There you go. One life living as you and me. One life that God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. Because God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. Woo! One light living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. As God is all there is. One light living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. As God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. Woo! One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. Because God is all there is. Why? Because God is all there is. Say it again. Because God is all there is. Woo! Yeah. Awesome job. Thank you. Everybody for coming. As always, tea, water, and what? Snacks.
If you come and get snacks, you come and get snacks. You gotta show up if you wanna get snacks. Woo!
Have a lovely evening. Mwah.